How's everybody doing? It's been a while. Everybody's been busy, but all is well with myself and Garrett and Kelly. But this is episode 136. Very excited to be back. You guys have been doing all kinds of stuff, so lots of updates for you in this episode. And hey, before we get into things here, why not check out North Arm Knives, our good old friends there. You can go over to northarmknives.com and give those guys some love since we haven't mentioned them in a while. Otherwise, I hope you guys are enjoying this crazy hot weather and spending lots of time outside. But we've waited long enough to get you guys an episode, so let's jump right into it. Sit back, relax, crack an ice cold beer, and enjoy episode 136.
Garrett,
Kelly,
what's going on?
how you been?
Been really good. Yeah, enjoying summer and all the good weather. It's super hot this week. It's June 26th. It's been a long time since we talked on the podcast. We've talked, obviously a number of times otherwise, but yeah, it's like 40 degrees
Ooh,
in Kelowna here, and it's like, in the evening. So we're in a major heat wave. I think it's the same where you are. So
yeah,
crazy, man.
It's heating up here too. Like it's a struggle to get out there. You're trying to race around and get everything done in the morning before it gets scorching hot.
I imagine. So you're getting up super early, like super early?
Well, my kids get up pretty early. My kids wake up around like 5:00. So
Yeah.
we get up, make breakfast, and then I try to get the hounds out for some exercise and then get back and then do all my horse chores. And
Yep.
then,
How are they making out with all this? The heat?
you know what, man? It bogs them down pretty good. They kind of
Yeah.
just find a tree and stand underneath it. And I mean, if they do get up and start playing around, like they're just drenched in sweat. But I give them salt every day.
Oh, yeah.
Like I give them like this. I
Keep
make
the
up
is
like
that
yeah.
electrolytes?
I make them like a mash, and in that
Salt mash?
well, it's got it's got a salt mash, and there's some other stuff in there. But so I know they're always getting salt, and then I always clean their water out and top it up with fresh water. So I'm always watching them to see how much water they're consuming.
Yeah.
Especially when it's this hot out. Geez, I think, like you said, it's going to get up over 40 here too.
How old are they now? They got to be close to a year, eh?
Just turned a year.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Yeah. And what an adventure it's been, man. Holy crap.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about it, I guess. I mean, you're kind of getting right into the training and stuff, eh?
Yeah.
Horse training, and I saw one photo. You should probably send me a couple photos. Maybe we can put them up there. But I thought I saw you with like a whip or something, or a stick.
Yeah, it's a stick, and it's kind of got like a rope attached to the end of it. And then you just kind of, depending on or not, if you need that part of it, it's just more or less like an extension of your arm. But yeah, the training part, I mean, with COVID going on, wasn't a pretty limited, you know what I mean, who I can interact with and all that. So time's going by, and I'm feeling like, oh man, I got to start doing something. Like these horses need some groundwork. So, you start doing your research and you figure out, I mean, what way you want to train your horses.
What kind of stick you need.
What kind of stick you need. What kind of whip. Yeah, no whips. No, definitely not any of that. And then I just, this one fellow there had great content that you can get through like your mobile device, computer and that. So I thought that was great.
Awesome.
And I've been doing that. I've been doing that just about every day. So
Nice.
It's coming.
What are you doing? Like, what's your plan when you step in there?
Well, like he has like, I mean, they have different levels, and then you know what I mean? Like the horse always throws you kind of curveballs, but you kind of want to work through each level, and you're building them up to more or less, how do I put it? Like obedient? Not really. That's not the correct term, but
kind of like obedience training, I guess. Like, are you trying to get them to go where you want them to go, basically?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get them like almost to like respect you, but look at you as if you're like the leader in a herd
okay.
mentality.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're over 1,000 pounds now, and like I'm glad they're not intelligent, because they would just be like, well, I'm way bigger than you, I'm just going to steamroll you over.
Right.
So,
And you have to, I imagine there's like a reward system. Like, what are you doing to reward
totally.
behavior? Like, are there such thing as horse treats?
Yeah. And I don't give them treats. I don't feed them out of my hand,
No.
just so they don't get pushy or anything like that. So
Right.
that's a good question. Like, the reward is like, so going through this is like, if I'm teaching them to do something, I'm putting them in a situation where there's pressure, right?
Mm.
And depending on what I want them to do, when they do the right thing, the release and pressure is the reward.
Oh, okay.
If that makes any sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then like just routine and then consistency.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate goal there.
Right.
And there's like, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of challenges along the way. Like, I'm learning too, right?
Yep.
So,
well, I remember early when we started chatting on the podcast, you had the story, a couple close calls in the shack there with the horses. Has there been anything like that recently where they've kind of come close to, knocking you over or anything like that? Or has it been pretty good on that front?
You know what? It's getting better and better. And I think that's all from groundwork and being out there every day and working with them. Like
they know you.
They know me. And
if it was me out there, like if they hadn't seen me before, I'm sure they'd be a different story. Yeah. But
well, I hope not. Yeah.
Yeah. Or actually, I'm hoping to, head back to town, this summer for sure, and we'll definitely be letting you know when we're in town and come up and check them out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You should come up here. Bring James too.
Yeah, man, things are looking pretty good across the country and in BC as far as all the, crap that's been happening over the last year. So I think we definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's good, man. How about you guys over there? Are you getting out much with the way things are?
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty safe just because, James, he's got a little bit of asthma. It's hard to it's hard to kind of diagnose that when the kids are so young, but we've just tried to stay careful with them with that whole front, just a little bit of breathing issues. Nothing serious, but when just best to be safe is kind of our approach. So we've been pretty cautious, but it's definitely opening up a little bit more now, and we're feeling good about it. I actually got out for a bear hunt last week or the week before, and this would have been in the Thompson region, and took the ATV up there. Kyle and I went. He's got one as well. So, it was kind of like a maiden voyage for the ATV as well. And yeah, man, it was a good trip. I put a lot of kilometers on it. Really cool to kind of, you can get up so high and so far on those things, man. Like,
yeah,
it's
I've been
pretty
meaning
amazing
to ask you about your new ATV. So it's working out then. You like it?
Yeah, I really liked it. Like I said, it's not like I'm not planning to use it for every hunt. I think I'm gonna kind of use it. It definitely has a purpose. And it was really cool on kind of a spring bear hunt to get up high and explore some new areas. The scouting aspect of it is really cool, man, because you can cover so much and see, kind of keep tabs on where you're at. And then in hunting season, you can always go back, with boots on the ground or a truck or whatever too, right? So,
and this
really
goes back
cool from
to
that perspective.
Like we talk about, like it's a good alternative to not beating the crap out of your truck.
Yeah, exactly. And we would have, beat the crap out of our trucks for sure. And again, it's in an area that, I personally have never been to. So you never know what the roads are like and, where the washouts are and where the closures are. And, so you can rip up to one of those areas in a quad. We ran into a couple closures and washouts, and then you're kind of, you rip back down, you go up another road, and, it's much quicker. And you can pack a bunch of stuff. You can pack your lunch. You can pack a little cooler. You can pack a beverage, and it's a good time for sure.
Are you wearing your backpack when you're riding, or are you strapping it down?
No, I strapped it down on the front, and then I've got a couple mounts. I have a gun boot on there. I've got a little Rotopax fuel mount on the side back rack, and then I just bought like a Stanley Fat Max 28-inch toolbox because they have the water seal and stuff, and I just ratchet strap that thing down to the back rack, and you can fit a little cooler in there. You can, all the stuff you need. I actually picked up one of those Wyoming saws.
Oh, nice.
The Saw 2s. I think you have one too. And we talked about that in previous episodes, way back when we got our elk there. But that thing's awesome. But you can throw all that stuff into that little box and you're good to go, man.
Yeah, that thing saved my hide a few times, and not just for cutting up meat. Like it has totally. It's got the different blades that it comes with.
Bone saw and the wood saw.
Yeah, the wood saw. Like I've cut down, obviously, windfall. That's blocked the road.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, I feel like you can handle a 4 to 6 inch tree with those things. 6 is probably getting a little big, but
yeah,
if you had to, man, you could definitely deal with those.
So the ATV's all broken in now. Is that?
Yeah, it's all broken in. Yeah, man, it's fun. So I guess on the hunt, we went for a couple nights. And went out there. We didn't see a ton, although we did see 2 black bear, which was really cool. And they weren't actually that far away. So, Kyle and I sat there and watched them for a bit. We actually saw one to start with. And it just, with a little more experience into bear hunting, you start being able to tell, and recognizing the signs much better in terms of what's a big bear and what isn't. And we just, I knew when I saw that bear, I'm like, that looks like a pretty young bear. So we were watching him for a bit, and then another bear popped up out of the bush as well. So there's actually 2 bears there, which to me kind of, they both look small and they were both together. So I kind of figured, they weren't cubs by any means, but I just feel like they were maybe 1 or 2 years old, like kind of in that range. Yeah, man, the fact that they were kind of hanging out together, we didn't notice any mum or any other bear around, but the fact that they were hanging out together kind of noted to me that they weren't, bigger boars or anything like that too. But you could tell just from the appearance, long face, big ears, skinny bum. You could tell they weren't old bears.
What time of the day, Kelly?
That would have been probably early evening. Yep.
Nice.
My thought with black bears hunting is always to be out there in the afternoon and hunt right through to sundown.
Yeah.
That's my thought, man. Like every I've been on 2 successful bear hunts, one and another that was, borderline almost successful. That was the one that Mike got super close. He wanted to, basically, see how close he could get. And, that should have been a successful hunt. Like for, if we really wanted to just stay 300 yards, 200 yards back and take a shot, it would have been successful.
Right.
But, in the moment, he wanted to hunt a certain way and that's totally fine. And, it spooked the bear and it ended up running away. So, but, if I count that one and I count, Adam's hunt that I was on and then the hunt that I did, they were actually all, late afternoon hunts, kind of between dinner and sundown. So that's my suggestion for folks. If you're going to go bear hunting, is kind of focus on that. I mean, it could happen anytime. You just don't know, but I think your probabilities are better later on.
Totally. And when you're seeing animals, I mean, that just, it's way better.
Oh yeah, for sure. We saw a couple mule deer. But other than that, not a whole ton really. But yeah, man, it was fun.
Nice.
How about you? I think you've gotten out for a couple bear hunts.
Yeah, like I initially I was not. I was kind of on the fence about running the hounds, and then as me and you were talking, I was like, I'd give it a go. So this was my first time ever bear hunting, and it was awesome. I had a
Nice.
hell of a time. So it's good. The family came out and ended up running a couple bears, but like you, they were small.
Yep.
Weren't that big, but I mean, the first time we went, it was, wow. I mean, I think I did like 13, 14K. Like the dogs just did not stop. And I kind of heard this from other people with hounds. Like the bears won't tree. They'll just keep running and running. Well, that was exactly what happened. They just went up
That's
and
a
down.
long time.
Oh man, I was wiped. And the dogs were too after that, once I got them back.
Yeah.
So I was chasing after the hound, and it wasn't on flat. Like I was going up and over mountains and through bogs. And
Jeez.
so
Yeah,
that
they
was the
don't really
first time
follow
I got
trails, eh?
Oh, no trails. Yeah. So I got a little glimpse of the bear, but it was going full tilt through the bush.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Nice.
just the other times we went out, it was small, tiny bear. And then we had an incident there not too long ago. We went out and the wind was, it's just like that perfect wrong scenario. The wind was going in the wrong direction. The hounds were kind of on the high side, and I was calling them back. And then all of a sudden I heard like this huffing in the bush, and I thought it was one of the dogs. So I was like, oh, what the hell? What's he doing? I started calling him like, Willie, come on, get it, let's go. So I'm looking on the thing. He's like, oh, he's on it. And start huffing louder. Then all of a sudden, 2 cubs go darting up the tree. And this is maybe like 15 yards away from us. And the bush
That's not a good sign.
It was a sow and 2 cubs. Luckily, the dogs didn't, you know what I mean, get on the bear. I had enough time to grab them, get out of that scenario. Like that,
Black
ultimately,
bear?
I was trying to think about, it was black bear.
Nice.
I was trying to think about
Good thing it wasn't a grizz.
Oh, it would have been horrible. That's what we were talking about. So I had bear spray, had the 30-30, but I mean, talk about landing right on him.
Yeah.
And she was just a small young bear too. Like she just ran her cubs up the tree, and she like literally was, I don't know if you ever heard that before. They kind of do like that. It's not a growl, but they kind of huff at you. She kept doing that and then kind of like false charging. So that definitely got the hair standing up. I'm glad we got out of there with the hounds, and I caught them. So you know what I mean? It wasn't this whole big kerfuffle with me trying to pull the dogs off with.
Yeah, I'm sure it will call you guys up, including the bears.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got an extra shot of energy after that.
Totally.
But the spot where we kept running into him was like this kind of dark shaded area it was like one of the last places where the water was still running through, and it feels like there was always different bears moving through there.
Like lower elevation or higher, like in the valley?
No, actually it was higher up in the mountain. So, I mean, like you worked your way up the mountain, then it kind of dipped down in this ravine where the water was running out of wherever it was coming from there. And it was all like lush green, thick.
Nice.
So that's where we were having all our luck. I ran a few bears in there, and it was fun. Like we were talking, I mean, like you said, you're seeing animals, like the action. Like I was having a great time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
None of the dogs got hurt, so it's perfect.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I like bear hunting, man. I like getting out in the spring after winter. It's just a completely different feel. We've talked about this than fall. So I'm happy to see you're getting into it there. There's still a little bit of time. I believe it's till the end of June. I might try to get out again, but the heat is really the heat is killer. It's like we're smashing records in BC in terms of heat right now. 41 degrees for like 3 or 4 days in a row. It's going to be intense. So that's definitely going to factor into the plans. I mean, I guess from one perspective, you gain elevation and things cool off a bit, but we'll see what happens.
I couldn't imagine trying to gut a bear even in the mid 30s.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, man.
Yeah.
The bear I got was up around 5,000 feet, and it was nowhere near this hot. And it was even then I was like, I was covered in bugs, and that was spring. That was spring as well. So and it was warm enough, man. Like I just, you're right. Even like if it's 40 degrees down here, I can't imagine it's at a whole ton cooler than 30 degrees up at 5,000 feet. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe that's an experiment I can go try with the quad.
The bug issue. How are the bugs over there where you're at?
They're good. It's just, I'm thinking back to when I got my bear, and, I didn't even think about bugs until I started cleaning it, and all of a sudden there's a ton of bugs around me. So sometimes they just show up right then.
Right.
So yeah, you never know, man. I always pack that bug mask in my pack. It weighs nothing.
Yeah.
just for that reason. Like sometimes you just don't realize that there's bugs around until you start cleaning an animal.
Yeah.
And then it makes your life kind of more difficult than it needs to be.
Oh, totally. Like I know they're not near as bad as anywhere up north or
No.
out in the prairies, but I mean, we've been having a bad bug season too. They've just been annihilating the horses.
Yep.
So
For sure.
yeah.
Cool, man. Well, and did you buy the Traeger recently?
That's right. Yeah. I just picked up a
and
Traeger.
Was that in advance of potentially getting a bear so you could throw a ham on there?
Totally.
Was that the plan?
That was the plan.
Well, hopefully we can still make it happen. But how's that thing treating you? Which one did you buy, first of all?
I got the Ironwood 885.
Okay.
It's awesome. I love it. There's only one issue. It's got these stupid. Well, I shouldn't say they're stupid. They're actually they're useful for what they do. But it's got these liners in the bottom that takes all the drippings, and they're just a pain in the ass to like. You got to buy them. I'm sure I could put just tinfoil down there, but
they're like foil pans, kind of.
Yeah, just to catch all the others. Other than that, though, that's the only minor issue. And then, like I said, it's minor. But other than that, it's unreal. I mean, we did beer can chicken last night.
So you're not like the pain in the ass would be more the fact that you're not like reusing and cleaning them, but you're kind of like having to buy new ones if you make a mess of them.
Yeah. So depending on what you're cooking, like if you're cooking something that's really like, if you're using like on a marinade or something that's really messy and it's dripping down, burning on the thing, you can only clean it so much. Right. So if you don't want all that stuff burning off into your next meal, you know what I mean? Like obviously you get so plugged up, you want to replace it, but.
Yeah. I've seen folks, at least when they're cooking brisket and stuff, they put the brisket on the top rack and then they'll put like a lasagna pan on the bottom rack and just catch it all.
Oh yeah, that's
that
a good
way.
idea. Yeah.
Or they'll put they'll get like a lasagna, like the lasagna aluminum foil kind of looking pan thing, and they'll put like a little mesh, something to kind of elevate the brisket off the grease that it's dripping into.
Yeah, that would
just
be
to like
a
a centimeter or something. And then I don't know, maybe that would help kind of with the mess. So I get it though. Like you kind of have to find some way to contain it.
Yeah. Well, it does. It runs off and then into like a trap, which is good. But
okay.
Like I said, it's minor. It's not really. I mean, besides that, the things are real. Like, so I got it for obviously smoking, barbecue, grilling, and all that. But thinking down the line of doing like pepperoni or summer sausage or that, like, you know what I mean? I really want to get into that part of it from the hunting side of things. You were talking about grinders and all that. Yep. So to me, it's just like, oh, great. I get to do all this, even jerky too. So yeah. So far I've done like pork tenderloin in there. I've done lots of chicken in there. We did some steaks in there. Steaks are kind of, I don't know. I think you still need like propane. They're good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I was thinking, I want to get a Traeger too. So I was interested in yours. There's a hummingbird buzzing around my window right here. It's kind of cool. Anyways, I was thinking like, would you get rid of your, gas barbecue? But I'm thinking no, like you kind of have the gas barbecue hooked up on the one side of the patio and the Traeger on the other side.
Yeah, you nailed it. Like I got which we talked about in the other episode, the Camp Chef with 2-burner.
Yeah, I got one of those too now.
Yeah, and they're awesome. So I was like, well, there's only 4 of us in my family, so I don't really need anything else. So I was like, I'm gonna get one of these Traegers to do all that stuff we just talked about. And so far it's been unreal.
Nice. That's awesome. It's on my list. Yeah, I've been mentioning it more and more because I need to, convince Bree that it should be on her list too. But
drop the little hints.
With that Camp Chef double burner, I brought it out to the bear hunt, and that thing's awesome, man. Like breakfast, and it's great for breakfast. I think that's my favorite.
Oh, it's unreal.
Because I've got the griddle and I've got the barbecue set up, kind of like you, right?
Yep.
And but yeah, man, like we had leftover steak and throw it all on the griddle, throw some eggs on there, throw your hash browns on there. Like it's perfect.
Sometimes
and then we did some pancakes the next day, some homemade pancakes, and yeah, it's awesome.
Sometimes I think all you need is the griddle.
I think so. I think you're right.
Like you can almost do it all on the griddle.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then, the other side, you can, like I brought a cast iron pan, like a 10-inch cast iron.
Oh yeah.
And then, you have the griddle and then a pan straight over the burner. And, but the barbecues with the lid is kind of cool because, remember when we were elk hunting and everybody was bringing dinners?
Yeah.
We have a lasagna and you can kind of put it on there frozen or whatever it is. And you just put the lid on and it acts like an oven. So you have that option.
Oh yeah. That's a good point.
So that thing's handy. I mean, it's still a little bulky and heavy to pack the thing around, but like once it's set up, it's tough to beat.
Oh, you can't, like, the other thing too with that barbecue, you can put, I've done this before, you can put wood chips in there and smoke. Yeah,
nice.
It's good. I've done burgers that way.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good.
That'll be my Traeger for now.
Yeah, you're gonna get
for
one.
now.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about which one to get, honestly, but it sounds like you're happy with yours. I know the top one's a Timberline and it has like double insulated everything, which I imagine makes it a little easier in the winter if you're going to be smoking stuff. But
so yeah, like that's kind of what, when I was going through the Timberline, I mean, guys are open out, like in the open prairies and that, where it's like getting grueling cold and the wind, there's no barriers. And that thing was just rocking at steady temperature the whole time. I'm like, well, I don't really need that.
Right.
This doesn't really get that.
And they're
cold
pricier.
enough.
Like you're adding, $500 to $1,000 for
oh,
each
totally.
of the, like,
Yeah, for
upgrades
sure.
you get.
Yeah, you're getting more material on the grill, right? So you're paying for it. I mean, other than that, this thing here does. I mean, even the Pro Series does it all too. Like, so they're good.
Yep.
They're good grills.
Yeah, man. Kyle has a Pro Series, and I think one day he's going to upgrade his because he uses it all the time. But one of the meals he brought out was Traeger slow cooked ribs.
Ooh.
I think he had them in there for like 8-10 hours or something like that, and then it was just like pulled in like a barbecue sauce, and then with like coleslaw and salsa and cilantro and stuff, and then we had those in wraps, so that we were eating all this stuff in camp, just gorging ourselves.
That's the way to do it.
And yeah, it was awesome.
See, when I bought mine, I was thinking more grill space, like volume. Like I said, if me and you shot something, how much pepperoni can I crank out at one time?
Right, or like how big is a bear ham that you'd have to put on there, or like how big of a brisket do you want to cook or whatever.
Exactly. I
find it, we always think about that in terms of how many burgers you can fit on there, but burgers is kind of like the last thing I worry about because you can cook burgers in 10 minutes. You just keep firing them on there.
Yeah.
I guess it's just for comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as long as you can fit a brisket on there and as long as you can fit a bear ham in there, I'd be happy with that, man.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So
yeah.
So far, so good. I love the thing. It's awesome.
Sweet. The other thing I was going to chat with you about today is we've talked about fall plans and elk, right? That's like the plan. But that plan might be changing a little bit because you got some news on your end.
Yeah.
In terms of LEH. So we got our LEH draws.
I mean, that's what LEH, I guess. I don't even know. I mean, do you always put LEH as, because LEH, I feel like always throws a curveball at you if you are successful. Like if you were successful pulling an LEH draw, I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm in. Like if you got the sheep for around you, I'd be like, of course I'm in. That's
totally.
a once in a lifetime, right?
Yeah, like I feel like you put your plan A together, which is like assuming you don't get any LEHs, which is our elk hunt.
Yeah.
And then if anyone's successful in LEH, then that plan just immediately changes.
Exactly.
And I guess to be clear, neither one of us actually won an LEH, but
no. But I mean, I guess you're putting, I mean, you're stacking the odds in your favor, right? When you get an LEH, I mean, chances are you're going to be in an area where you have good odds. So anyways, my father-in-law pulled a moose draw. So obviously, he's going to need the help he can get. And he's obviously, going out as a group and the whole experience and having, you know what I mean? The whole camaraderie of everybody together and going out. And that's where we're going with this. So, I mean, like he said, the elk hunt has shifted gears, but not totally, not completely.
No,
So
it's a different time frame, right? Because the moose tag is mid-October to late October, and it's not like we're not going to be hunting in September, whatever that means.
yeah, it that's just it. Like we still have the option, and there's this area here. Like it's got quite the variety in terms of where to find elk.
Yeah.
Moose is kind of like, I mean, the whole where we're going to set up our camp,
Mm-hmm.
where we're going to focus our attention for pursuing moose. Like we have a really good idea where to go. And let's talk about that in terms of camp and
Yep.
who's coming here, Kelly. So
Yeah, for sure.
this camp will be wall tents. So we're not backpacking, which is also, I mean, it's a lot of fun. We've talked about this before. So to be you, myself, my father-in-law, my dad, and then this time around, Kelly, your dad's going to be coming.
Yeah.
Which is
That'll
awesome.
I think it'll be his first, hunt that's an actual trip, like a multi-day trip. So that's really cool. We've done a few day hunts, but like this is, these kind of trips are kind of, really the fun part where you get to hang out and set up camp and, spend some time, reset, and then the camaraderie, like you said. So, yeah, he's pumped about it. And yeah, can't wait to get out there. And you guys, we've talked about wall tents before, but like you and your family and the hunting experience and the wall tent experience and all that, like the camp's always super well set up. And, I've learned a lot just over the last couple of years setting up those types of camps, hunting with you guys. So, yeah, man, looking forward to it.
Same here. So we got that going for it, which is great. I mean, makes it exciting. And then like the other, I mean, if we're talking different animals, we got the elk that we talked about.
Yep.
We got our spots there to look for elk, if we are successful with the moose. And then this area also has good mule deer. And there's been a history of this spot here that has produced some pretty significant mule deer. And I mean, I've heard a lot of stories about it growing up as a kid, and I've always wanted to venture in there. And there'll be some time there where me and you can venture off and, I mean, put on the hiking boots, and
we can still backpack, but it'll be day trips.
Oh, for sure.
And maybe me and you will do more of that stuff if the other guys want to. The cool thing is that there's such a variety of what you can do each day. Whether you're hiking or on an ATV or on a want to cruise around or want to sit by a lake and call moose all day or whatever you want to do. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I think there's 4-point muleys open, whitetails open, elk in nearby is open, and spike fork moose is open there too.
That's right. Yeah.
So, even though it was your father-in-law that drew the moose tag, and if he connects with the moose, he'll need all the help he can get.
Oh, totally.
But we've got a lot open for ourselves too. So it's a really cool opportunity.
I mean, for a trip like this, I mean, now that we're kind of, the plans are just starting to get rolling, like besides, figuring out all the details, like having it at that time of the year, it's kind of, I like it when it's a little bit cooler out too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about racing back to a cooler with the meat. Or somebody, get a hold of. You got to have a friend or something who has a cooler where you can hang it, or find somewhere that will hang wild meat, right?
Yeah.
So, and then also just having the wood stove going it's adds an extra little texture to the hunting. Like you said, it's the whole experience, right? When you get out there and you set up the wall tents and everybody's there. And I mean, at the end of the day, and then we as going forward planning, we can plan on all our meals. Like you said before with your camp chef, I mean, we're cooking all these amazing meals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So even if me and you're out there burning tons of calories, we know we're coming back to a 4-course meal.
Yeah, totally. Yep. Looking forward to it. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like as soon as someone draws an LEH, all the plans change. But, the cool thing about being in BC is that there's so much opportunity. No matter what region you're in, there's always, you always end up in situations like, what are you actually focusing on today? Because, you have options.
Like,
Sometimes that can work against you because you're not like focusing solely on one thing. And, that showed up on our sheep hunts. But yeah, it's an advantage too.
and that's, you know what, like, that's something that me and you we haven't really discussed yet either, like about what happens if someone draws an LEH and this whole time we've been planning to do like an elk hunt, right?
Yeah.
And, at first when that happened, I was like, I hope what I was thinking was like, well, I hope Kelly's in for this because, I mean, this is going to be a cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
like,
actually
is he going to be bummed if we aren't going on an elk hunt?
Totally. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what I mean? And then now, talking it out on the podcast, I mean, if you have friends, if you're stuck in this scenario, maybe have that conversation because, I mean, it can be really difficult to draw these LEH, even when you look at goat and the odds are like, oh, this is a gimme. Man, you may not pull that tag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for a hunt like this, the memories are more about the folks that we're hunting with, right? Like it's your father-in-law, your dad, my dad will be there. So like that group is, it's about just making memories really. If an animal hits, the cooler, then, that's just the cherry on top, but
it's a bonus.
It's, it's just good way to make memories and get folks together because it's super hard to do that nowadays, right? Like when you have kids and you moved away and work and life and all that kind of stuff. And, I'm listeners that only get to hear our podcast every month or two at this point are probably getting a sense that we're pretty busy these days, which is true. I mean, we still got hunting season, we haven't even really got into it this year yet. So we've got some things coming by the end of the year for sure. But like, yeah, just having the chance to get everybody together for a solid amount of time. That's the thing with hunting, man. Like, what other activities do you get to, plan in advance that far in advance and kind of get everybody to a very isolated spot where you're kind of like, okay, it's just us for 7 days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's
actually, well, we should mention that your dad, my dad, and my father-in-law, they all grew up in the same town, so they know each other.
Yeah, true.
So,
yeah, I think I'm not sure about your dad, but I believe your father-in-law and my dad went to high school together.
Okay.
Or at least grew up in the same village, like at the same proximity, like super close.
So like, I mean, when you add, even like, most people, they hunt with the same people all the time. That's, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you switch up you have different people coming in, it makes it, I mean, I don't know what's the right word, like exciting also. It adds a different flavor to it, right? You gotta...
Yeah, it's a little more dynamic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe, we'll keep our eyes open, whitetail, muley. The thing about muley is, there's all those stories when we were growing up, but I just worry about how muley's doing in those areas nowadays. But that there's got to be some crankers walking around, some old muleys that are just super smart and have evaded things for.
And I think like having that, thinking the way that you just said there is what makes you want to get out there.
Yeah,
it's like,
totally.
What if, right? What if?
Exactly.
Because I don't know too many people who go up there and go after it. Like you're committed when you go up into this area.
Right.
And there's been some crankers pulled out of there.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, I see really no downside in that plan. And even though, plans change and you kind of move focus from one to another, I mean, like you said, we could still hunt elk on this hunt. And, if we can get a moose down, it's splitting hairs here. Like it's for me at this point, given that I've had a bit of a dry spell in terms of getting meat in the freezer, it's just about getting meat in the freezer for me.
It's the same for me too.
Yeah.
Just filling that freezer up.
Yeah.
In this hunt, will you be bringing your ATV?
I probably, I'm going to start there. So I'll say, yeah. I mean, unless there's a reason why I decide not to, which, we've still got a lot of time to think about this and plan it out and kind of look at maps and all that. I haven't even really dove into that world yet, but I would say yes.
Good. Yeah, it'd be a great spot for an ATV.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure then. And it's also good. I mean, I can take the trailer out and the ATV's on a trailer, I mean, so it just adds more storage options and bringing stuff and coolers and gear and all that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
yeah, it's just good to have all that. It's good to have the options.
So before we go, we'll be going up there and we'll probably make maybe 1 or 2 trips to find a good camp spot and then firewood. So we'll be doing our prep just so it's not, you know what I mean? We're not burning a whole day for cutting firewood, setting camp, right? It's kind of nice to get that crap out of the way first. I shouldn't say crap. I mean, that's all about the experience is getting, but you know what I mean? It's getting excited and building up to so you have everything kind of more or less run smooth.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not kind of saving everything to the last minute.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what we should do too is, we've got the Zoom account here, so we can probably set up some as we get closer. If you guys want to do some planning sessions, we should do some Zoom calls.
Totally. We should. Yeah. We'll talk about how much wine we're bringing.
Bring a bunch of bourbon, wine, and
Scotch.
I know last time we hunted, it was like, come back and there's Sirius radio in the wall tent and
last
Pink
time
Floyd and Zeppelin and
for sure, you got to have the tunes. Mike and Kevin brought like a variety of nice wine from the Okanagan. That was luxury.
Yeah.
It came in that special little container, sure. The high rollers.
We can do that. Yep. Oh man, we can. There's so much we can do. We got lots of time too. So I'm sure we'll talk more about this hunt as we proceed through the year. But looking forward to it for sure. And I was happy to hear that somebody drew something because everybody I talked to is like, no. And then I talked to you and you said, that your father-in-law got one there. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Got me too. I'm looking forward to it, Kelly. I can't wait.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, let's touch base again sometime soon. We'll chat a little more about that and maybe we'll be able to sneak out for another bear hunt here before the season closes.
Sounds good, man. I like it.
Awesome. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, Kelly.
There you go. Episode 136. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Nice to be back. Conservation has always been a big part of the Rookie Hunter, so why not go over to the Wild Sheep Foundation and get yourself signed up there, or just whatever other organizations you're comfortable backing. Go out there and put your time in, put some dollars in there, and be a good steward of the nature. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Cheers.